Hello dear friend, I'm very happy to see you today. I am Salomon NONVIGNON, teacher of English in the private and the public school of Bénin. Today we are going to talk about passive voice. But before that, let's remind you of the hygiene rules to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. Wash your hands regularly with water and soap. Stay home or use a mask if necessary. Respect the social distance with others, which is at least 1 meter. Now, let's start our lesson. Dear friends, as I said, today we are going to talk about the passive voice. How do we build the passive voice? And to start, we are going to study 2 sentences. You can see the instruction on the board is study these sentences and say what you notice. We have the first one, the dog is eating my meal. And the second sentence, my meal is being eaten by the dog. I will ask you to study those 2 sentences. What do you notice? First of all, when we look at the second sentence, we can see that the subject in the first one becomes the complement of the second one. So, let's write subject of sentence 1 becomes complement in sentence 2. The second remark is that the object, the complement, which is an object in a sentence 1 becomes subject in a sentence in sentence 2. Okay? We also have another remark. This remark, it is about the verb. Here is the verb. Okay? So, what happens with the verb? The verb to be is put in the tense. Look at the verb here. The verb here is in present continuous. Look at to be here. Here is to be. The verb to be. What is its tense? Its tense, it is the same tense with the verb in the sentence 1. So, to be is in present continuous. So, to be is put in the tense of the verb of the sentence 1. Now, if we put to be in the tense of the sentence of the verb in the sentence 1, what will happen with the verb? Look, the verb here is the verb to eat, which is here. So the verb to eat is now in a past participle. The verb in sentence 1, is put in past participle. Okay, So that is what we remark, what we notice. Now, let's write it in other way. We have the sentence 1 that I will put S1. Here we have the subject, the dog. So we have subject plus what? Plus the verb is eating. So we have the verb. And we have here the complement. And what kind of complement is this? It is an object. Here it is a direct object. So we have plus object. So talking about the passive voice, you have three elements which are very important: the subject, the verb, and the object. Now the sentence 2, S2. What is the construction? Here we have the meal, which in the sentence 1 is the object. So we have object, which becomes the subject in the sentence 2. And here we have is been. It is the verb to be in the tense of the verb in sentence 1. So we have to be. And after to be, we have the verb in past participle. So we have the verb. The verb. And after the verb, we have the dog, which is the subject in the sentence 1. So subject. We have an object. So it is when we use the elements from the sentence 1 that we have this structure in the sentence 2. In the sentence 2, we have this, which represents the subject in the sentence 2. And we have the subject in sentence 1, which represents the complement in the sentence 2. What we have forgotten is that we have a small word, the preposition by. So, by. Good. Now, here is the representation of the two sentences. This sentence is the active voice, and this sentence is the passive voice. So, sentence 1, active voice. Sentence 2, passive voice. Okay. Now, what is the conclusion that we can draw? The conclusion is that to put a sentence into passive voice, we need 3 elements: subject, verb, and object. The object becomes the subject. To be is put in the tense of the verb, tense of verb, and the verb in past participle. Okay? Which is followed by plus the subject of the sentence 1. Here is the general rule. It is the general rule because we have some particular rules. Okay? Now, let me give you a sentence that together we'll see how to put that sentence into passive voice. Amina did her homework. Amina did her homework. So, first of all, let's find the different elements in this sentence. Amina is the subject, so subject. Of course, this is active voice. Did is the verb. Her homework is the object. Now, passive voice. As we said, the subject becomes the complement. The object becomes the subject to be in the tense of the verb, and the verb in past participle. Don't forget. So let's put each thing in its place. So the homework, we can start by her homework because we don't know her, who is it, okay? So let's start with the homework. Now, the verb did. Here it is the simple past. To be in the simple past with homework in singular. So to be in the simple past, it is was. Now, the verb in past participle. Here it is the verb to do. So was done. The past participle of the verb to do is done. Now, by the subject, which is Amina. Here is the passive voice of this sentence. And by plus the subject of the sentence 1, we call it agent. What we call in French, complément d'agent. So this is the agent. Okay? So here is the general rule. Now, to go further, let's see how to put some other sentences into passive voice. The first one, it is how to put the transitive verbs, the sentences with the transitive verbs into passive voice. The transitive verbs are those verbs which are used with two objects, direct and indirect object. Let me give you some example of the transitive verbs. We have, for example, the verb to send. To send, to give, to offer, to give, to offer. Why not to teach? To tell. Yes. There are many other verbs which are the transitive. Okay? So, those verbs are the transitive because with them we can have two objects, direct and indirect objects. Okay? We have many the transitive verbs. Let me give you one sentence with the transitive verb. My father, example, my father send us some cakes. Okay? My father sent, to use the past, or will send, okay, the tense, it's not necessary to put a stress on this tense. Okay, my father sent us some cakes. We have two objects. The first one, which is the indirect object, my father sent some cakes to us. So indirect object, let me put IO, and some cakes, the direct object. So we have two possibilities. The first one, it is with the indirect object, and the second one, it is with the direct object. Like I said, if we start with the indirect object, we have this. This is the subject, this is the verb, this is the object, okay? And we have the verb to be in the tense of the verb, and the verb into past participle. So we have Here, it is a personal pronoun object. So if the personal pronoun object becomes a subject, us, which is the personal pronoun object, when it will become subject, it becomes we. Very good. So we have we, and the verb sent. It is in simple past. To be in simple past with we. So we have we were. Now the past participle of the verb to send. We were sent. Some cakes by my father. Okay? That is the first case. The second one, it is with a direct object. So we have this. The verb to be into the tense of the verb and the verb in past participle. So we have some cakes. Now, to be in the tense of the verb with the plural were sent. Now, when you observe this sentence, after the verb, we have the direct object. Now, after the verb here, we have the indirect object. But there is something very important, the preposition to. It is very important in this situation. Okay? When after the verb, you want to use the indirect object, it is very important to put to. So, were sent to us by my father. Those are the two answers that we can get from the sentence with the transitive verb. Very good. Now, let me tell you something. When you have the choice, when you are given a sentence like this and you have the choice to use the direct or the indirect object, it is simple for you. It will be very easy for you to use the indirect object, because to here, when we use the direct object, to is very important. Don't forget. So that is why if you have the choice, use the indirect object. Thank you. Now, another case. Let's see how to put orders into passive voice. Orders. Don't forget, we saw that to give orders, we use imperative. So, how to put orders into passive voice. Let me give you an example. Open the door, for example. So, orders in a passive voice. Example, open the door. Okay, to use a parenthesis, when you are given orders, it means that you have an obligation. Okay, when you are giving orders, it is an obligation to respect that order. So, to express obligation, for example, here, open the door. It becomes an obligation. So we can say, you should open the door. Okay? Or you must open the door. Okay? So, if to explain and to make things clear for everybody, let's use those two sentences. So, if we want to use this, the first one, we have this. Here is the subject. Here is the verb. Here it is the object. So we have the object becomes the subject. You have the door. It is the same thing with the sentence 1. 1, 2. The sentence 2 is the same thing with the sentence 1. So let's do, to catch up, let's do things together. So the door should be, or if it is must, the door must be. Because we are asked to put to be in the tense of the verb. Okay? So the door should or must, to factorize. Okay? Must be plus the past participle of the verb. The verb here, it is the verb to open. It is a regular verb. So, opened. Okay? That is the answer. The door should or must be opened. Why we don't use by here? I will say it later, but what you have to put in mind is that with the sentence, we don't have subject. We don't have subject here, so this arrow is not necessary. Okay? We don't have subject, but there is another reason that I will give you in a few minutes. We may have a negative order. Don't open the door. Don't open the door. You should not open the door, or you must not open the door. And here, the answer will be the door should or must not be opened. So the negation will come here. Is it clear for everybody? Now, how to put questions into passive voice. So questions on passive voice. On the passive voice, it is very clear. You know, in questions we have auxiliary plus subject plus verb plus complement and the question mark. Okay, in other words, to put a verb or a sentence into question, into interrogative form, we just put the auxiliary before the subject. Okay, we have two kinds of questions. We have yes or no questions and WH questions. First of all, let's talk about yes or no questions. Those questions are questions which always start with the auxiliary. Example, will you eat bread? Here is a yes or no question because it starts with an auxiliary. To make things easy for you, let's put this sentence into affirmative form. Into affirmative form, we just place the subject before the auxiliary. So we have you will eat bread. And when we have this sentence, it joins the situation in the general case. So we use the general rule to put this sentence into passive voice, which will give bread will be eaten. Okay? And we turn this sentence into interrogative form, which will give this: will bread be eaten? Okay? Question mark. It's very important. Now, concerning WH questions, we have a question word at the beginning. For example, when we say, when will you eat bread? We have when here. Okay? How can we do it? We just delete when, and we work with a yes or no question. till we have this answer, and after having this answer, we'll put the question word, which will give what? When will bread be eaten? Okay? I was telling you that there are some situations in which we don't have the agent, which means by plus the subject. It is when the subject in the active sentence is a personal pronoun or indefinite pronoun or people. For example, when we say people are doing the job, okay? In the final answer, we not have by people. We don't have by you, by me, by no. So when the subject in the active sentence is a personal pronoun, indefinite pronoun, or people, we don't use by plus subject. Thank you. We are at the end of today's lesson. I hope that you will find it useful during this trying moment. Don't forget to respect the hygiene rules to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. See you next time.